Hi everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for learning in Minecraft. It's great to see lots of people here and fantastic to be part of the homeschool conference. It's very exciting. To start off with, I thought while we were getting everybody settled, we'd let you all pop up some notes on the slide that you can see on the screen now, and just let us know where you are and also what Minecraft experience you've had or not had. Just gives us a bit of an idea of where we're all at. Fantastic. So we can see Cannon, who is one of our massively kids. It's fantastic to have Cannon and AJ here, who are both part of massively at Jokaydia and fantastic miners. And Cannon's in the UK. And we can see Sam Leandro. Fantastic, knows how to start a Minecraft server. That's pretty advanced. And welcome to all the people who are just joining us now. Feel free to jump in and add something on the slide. And we'll give that about a minute and then we'll kick in and get started. Oh, no problem, AJ. We're going to talk about you during the session anyway, so people will find out how clever you are. Fantastic. Yeah, lots of people do call it Minecraft. And I guess in some ways it is using your mind to craft. Oh, fantastic. We've got a modder. That's cool. And fantastic, young miners teaching you. I have to agree. Many of the miners who play with us at Massively teach me all the time. Oreo, it's great to see you here. Fantastic. So we've got a bit of an idea of some people's experience with Minecraft, so we might kick off and get stuck into it because there's lots to cover. So just to give a bit of an introduction to the session and to me, my name's Jo Kay and I live in Wollongong in Australia. I'm a virtual worlds and games consultant, and I spend most of my time using an avatar to create learning experiences in various environments. Over the last couple of years, one of my great passions has been working in Minecraft, and particularly in setting up the Massively at Jokaydia Guild, which is a community of kids who play together online. Massively Minecraft is a whitelisted community, so that means that we run a safe environment where only approved players can join, and we welcome kids from ages 4 to 16 years. And as well as the kids, we have lots of parents who join their children to play with us on the server. Our focus is not on teaching formal lessons in Minecraft, but rather on providing kids with a really free and fun environment where they can explore their creativity and learn together. So we're very much about enabling kids to develop their digital literacy skills, to learn how to collaborate together, and also to follow their own learning pathways. We were established back in 2011 on a corner of one of my OpenSim servers with about 10 kids, and over the last couple of years we've grown to more than 600 users in our community now, and they come to play with us from all over the world. And as I said before, we've got a couple of kids in the chat with us, Ajnan and also Cannon, who are players in the Massively community. Ajnan is a moderator in our community, and they'll be helping with answering questions, so feel free to jump in the chat and yell if you've got a question as we move through. As far as where our miners are coming from, we have a huge contingent of players from Australia, also lots of kids joining us from the US, many kids from the UK, and also kids from France and New Zealand and Canada, and we have a couple from Mexico and some from Spain and a small group from China. So kids are coming together to play in Minecraft from all over the world. while playing and creating are all part of the fun in Minecraft. So being a player means that you're not only fighting mobs and exploring and doing all the things that people might be familiar with in multiplayer games, but also building and creating content. So it's a mixture of both. It's all part of the experience, that's right, AJ. So in terms of the aims of our project, we're really focused on exploring the way that these multiplayer environments can be used in education, and looking at ways that we can use game-based learning to provide kids with an environment where they can engage in self-directed learning and have lots of fun. We focus on providing them with opportunities to collaborate, and we have a very strict rule of no formal lessons. So there's no lining kids up and having them kind of complete set tasks, but we do provide frameworks that allow them to complete missions and participate in projects together. As far as my passion in Minecraft is concerned, you know, from the moment that I started playing with young people in Minecraft, what I saw was huge amounts of motivation and engagement, and a real desire to create and be makers as well as consumers in the game. And I think that that's a really core difference between sandbox environments like Minecraft and some of the more traditional multiplayer online experiences that you might have seen kids having in games like World of Warcraft or Halo, and all those games that you're probably seeing your kids play online and on their Xboxes and PlayStations and things like that. So just to make sure everyone knows what we're talking about when we talk about Minecraft, Minecraft is a sandbox game, as I said, and it was created by a guy in Sweden named Marcus Notch Pearson. And Notch is very famous amongst Minecraft players. He's taken on quite a godlike role, and many of our kids follow him intently via his websites and Twitter and things like that. And he's an independent game developer who you know, originally developed the game and has had huge worldwide success. There's about 11 million players in Minecraft globally, so it's a huge environment, and as I'm sure most of you would attest, a huge proportion of the young people that you know are probably playing Minecraft. As far as where you can play it, we run a server that provides an environment for PCs or PCs and Macs and all those sorts of things, but you can also play it on an iPad or your Xbox. So there are a couple of different modes for playing Minecraft. It's a procedurally generated world, so that means that it's an 8-bit block environment that generates a random environment full of blocks that you can break, and those blocks are all materials that can be used for building in the game, as well as building, so as well as the creating aspect of Minecraft. There's also opportunities to go exploring. We have huge worlds on the Massively server that the kids are able to explore, gathering resources, so learning to find and use the materials that you need to create the things that you'd like to create, crafting, which means mixing materials to create objects, and lots of learning involved in that as far as literacy and numeracy is concerned, especially for our little kids. And you can also engage in player versus player combat, or combat with monsters. We call them mobs. So there's lots of things to do in Minecraft, and I think that mixture of lots of different activities is part of the joy of playing Minecraft. There are two main gameplay modes for Minecraft. There's survival, which means you have to survive the environment, collect food and resources for yourself, create shelters, and also survive those monsters. And that can be a very exciting experience, especially when you first start playing Minecraft and some crazy creeper comes up and blows up right next to you. You can also play in creative mode, and many of our kids love to play in creative mode. In that mode, you're actually able to build with an unlimited supply of material, so you can build huge epic structures and big castles and houses and all sorts of amazing things and basically anything that kids can imagine. And just to give you a bit of an idea of some of the things that kids are playing in Minecraft or building in Minecraft. You can see some pictures that'll just pop up on the screen as I flick through a few of them of the types of things that kids are building. So this is a little house that some of the kids built just recently on the server, and the kids that were working on this area range in age from about 6 through to about 11. And in terms of ages, we see a huge uptake at about 8 or 9 when they get those typing skills together and they're able to communicate really effectively. But we do have kids as small as 4 playing on the server and really enjoying being able to get into that creation. And particularly for our little ones, there's some really lovely interactions between kids and parents as they get into the mines and play together. Epic structures, I mentioned before, so huge castles and all sorts of amazing buildings and environment. So this is a castle that one of our little guys who's 11 has made just recently. And you can see there's a huge amount of skill involved in building something that's that architecturally clever. Yeah, there's just some comments in the text chat about gender biases. I would say in the Massively community there's a slight bias towards boys, but I think that one of the lovely things about Minecraft is that it actually does flatten out that gender distinction quite a lot, much more so than many other games that I've played with kids where you do see a large proportion of boys. Minecraft is an environment that provides opportunities for kids to explore the things that they want to be doing, and lots of the girls that play on the Massively server are really fantastic builders and love making skins for their avatars and all those sorts of things. So it's a lovely environment in that it does provide some really fantastic opportunities for both boys and girls, which is fantastic. Pixel art is another wonderful thing, and this is made by one of the girls in the Massively community, who's, I think she's 12 now. So being able to create beautiful pixel art based on your favourite characters, and you can see this little girl's very into ponies. Playing in environments I mentioned before, so being able to run around and engage with those mobs, and you can see there that's little Moby wearing her giraffe avatar. And she's chasing a pig there. So you can see a pig and a cow and a chicken. And in the background you can see a huge Doctor Who TARDIS that the kids and I built a couple of years ago. And we do see lots of kids creating things from the media that they're interested in. So movies, books, YouTube, music, all those sorts of things. So lots of opportunities to create the things that you're interested in. And we're big Doctor Who fans at Massively. Fighting mobs I mentioned before, so this is a little mob arena that one of our little guys has made. This kid really likes to create games and activities for other kids to play, so he's a budding game designer at all of 8 years old, and he's created a mob arena here where you can fight the monsters. So we can see some Endermen there, and the idea is that the kids will use their swords to kill those monsters, and whoever kills the most monsters is the winner. And of course, I mentioned before, towns and houses and all those sorts of things. So you can see here a little town that the kids have been working on, and it's got some gardens and things like that. So lots of opportunities to think about environment and civics and citizenship and all those sorts of things in terms of building and inhabiting those sorts of environments. And I think the most important thing for me as I watch kids playing in Minecraft is collaboration. And you can see here a little group of kids who've been working together with me to build a little town, very proudly standing at the gates to their walnut grove. And I think that the collaboration and the social learning that goes on in Minecraft is really one of the most valuable outcomes for many kids, and we see lots of kids getting huge confidence, developing their skills in terms of communicating with others, and also learning how to cooperate and sort out disputes and develop negotiation skills and all those sorts of very important social skills. PvP is player versus player, so that's one of the modes that you can play in Minecraft. where you actually are fighting each other. We don't do a lot of PvP on the massively server because we find some of the little kids struggle with it, but we do have the occasional special PvP day for our older kids who really love that competition, and there's lots of opportunities there to turn it into a collaborative experience in terms of things like capture the flag and playing in teams as well. So in terms of how it works, so we've talked a little bit about what happens in Minecraft, but how does it work? So as I said before, we run a whitelisted server. That means that only players who've applied to join our community can actually get onto the server to play, and that's a really important factor in terms of safety. There are literally thousands of Minecraft servers out there. Some of them are whitelisted, some of them are public. But I would say that particularly for kids, it's pretty important for them to be in an environment where there is some moderation, and whitelisting allows us to do that and make sure that only kids that have been through our sign-up process are able to get on the server. As far as our sign-up process is concerned, we've actually set up a system where the kids have to fill out an application form, and then they have to go through a few steps before they get whitelisted and they can actually log into the server to play. One of those steps includes having parental approval. We need to get an email from mum or dad with some contact details, and that helps us to meet the legal requirements we need to meet for having kids under 13 using online services. And considering we're an international community, there's quite a few bits and pieces of legislation we have to keep an eye on as far as that's concerned. And we take safety, very, very seriously. I think, it's really key to make sure that your kids are playing on servers where they are safe and they're playing with, an age-appropriate community. There are some fantastic public Minecraft servers out there with all sorts of amazing building and activity going on, but sometimes the behaviour of players can be fairly inappropriate for the little ones. And I think that, one of the things that Massively does do is it allows us to provide a safe environment where kids can actually learn some digital literacy skills in terms of how to actually handle yourself online and identify, environments that are safe, and understand the difference between safe and unsafe environments and what you should do if you find yourself in a tricky situation. As well as the server, we run a guild website that has forums and communication tools, and that's really an environment where kids are developing online skills in terms of how to use forums and how to communicate with each other online in a range of different modes. As I said before, we have regular adult moderation, and we also run chat logs, so we're actually able to log absolutely everything that's said and done in the mines, and that's really important for providing us with teachable moments where we can pick up on things that kids might be doing in the game and make sure that they get some coaching and some support to develop those skills to be able to engage online safely. And I think, with all of the fear, stories or the scary stories that we hear about kids online and the types of things that they may come into contact with, this provides us with an opportunity to really let them, explore and try out, being in an online environment and actually learn how to negotiate those spaces while they're little, so that when they get to Facebook age and they're ready to get out into the big wide world web, they've actually got some skills up their sleeves that allow them to negotiate those spaces safely. Yeah, Vicky, that's an interesting comment. A lot of kids say that in their feedback when they sign up on the website. They say, I want a server where I'm safe, or I want to be on a server where I know other people and I'm not going to get griefed. So griefed means having another player come and break your build or steal your resources. So there are a lot of kids who are, either had bad experiences out on public servers or are just very conscious of not wanting to come into contact with strangers, who are really looking for those safe environments. One of the questions that came up at the beginning of the session while we were getting prepared was the differences between Minecraft and Minecraft EDU, which some of you may have heard of. So at Massively, we run plain old Minecraft. We use a tool called Bucket to provide plugins and mods on the server and create that multiplayer environment. And we found that those tools are quite enough for us in terms of how we run the server. Having said that, I've got a fair amount of experience in running these virtual worlds environments, so I'm quite able to, sort out what tools we need to make sure that we can keep it all safe. Minecraft EDU is another tool that can be used to run Minecraft and is particularly appealing to school teachers who want to run a server internally in their classroom at school. And it provides a whole range of tools that teachers can use to manage the space. So it has tools that allow you to manage where kids can build and where they can't. It allows you to run chat logs and moderate chat. It allows you to control the types of skins that kids wear. And it provides a bunch of tools that just make it easy for a teacher who might be struggling to keep up with their third graders, as was mentioned earlier on, to actually kind of get set up and get moving. And we'll find a link for Minecraft EDU and pop that into the chat later on for anyone who's interested in that. And it's really a case of making a decision about what tools you'd like to use. Minecraft EDU and plain old Minecraft with Bucket are both fantastic tools, and you know, it just provides some little differences in terms of the way that things run and the types of modifications that you can make on your server. And you can see there on the screen there's a picture of the interface that we use to manage the server. We run on an external server that sits in a data center, and we're able to remotely log into that server to manage things. And we have a number of kids who actually help with some of that, so they're involved in helping to select the plugins that we run on our server and to make decisions about how we might you know, what administration tools that we might use and what sort of strategies we might use to manage the way that all the kids use the space. Yes, and Peggy's mentioning the Minecraft EDU Google group. That's a fantastic spot for getting an idea of how some teachers are using Minecraft in their classroom, and there's some fantastic links there, and also a wiki that goes with Minecraft EDU. So, moving back to Massively and what we're actually doing at Massively, one of the key things that we've set up as part of the kind of infrastructure of our community is a community charter, and that was created way back in 2011 originally by some kids. So rather than us creating the charter, we actually asked the kids to help us to come up with what the rules would be for our community. And the community charter is a really key part of our digital citizenship and safety strategy, because it really sets up the kind of expectations that we have for kids in the community and how we expect them to behave. We actually review the charter quite regularly and ask the kids that are playing in our minds to actually give feedback and comment on what's in the charter. So occasionally we add something new to it because a particular issue's arisen and we've needed to discuss how we might handle that. And it also very clearly includes information about what the consequences of bad behaviour will be, so that everybody knows what's expected of them in our community and how they can actually be a good Massively miner. And there's some lovely opportunities there for kids to develop citizenship skills and to think about what it means to be part of a community, and how to be respectful and how to collaborate with other kids. And I think there's some really lovely outcomes there for lots of kids, and particularly for kids who perhaps struggle with some of that, you know, in mainstream school or in other environments where they're playing with other people, and you know, definitely for kids who've come from public servers where they've had yucky experiences. When they come to Massively, as part of sign up, they have to agree to the charter, and that's a very kind of comforting thing for some of those kids, because they know that they're in an environment where there are actually there's a framework of behaviour that they can rely on. The charter has lots of things in it about, you know, particular ways to behave, about being honest, about not griefing, so not breaking other people's work, about not looting, so not taking other people's resources, and also about how we're going to share the environment, so how we're going to share this massive open space and be able to work together. As I said before, we have a Guild website, and the Guild website's a really key part of our structure in terms of providing communications tools that the kids can use outside of the mine, so outside of the actual game. It also provides them with the space to record their adventures, and you know, of course, there's lots of fantastic learning opportunities there in terms of, you know, writing in forums and publishing pictures and all those sorts of things. Peggy's asking about when things get broken. Sometimes we have to recreate, but we also have some plugins installed on our server that actually allow us to log all of the changes that are made in World and be able to roll back. So usually we can resurrect things, and that tool also is very important in terms of kids being responsible for what they do, because they learn that the logs don't lie, and we can always see what people have done. So if someone's broken something, we can actually go and check it out, and we can tell who did it and when they did it. And that's very powerful in terms of learning responsibility and understanding that you need to respect other people's work. That's right, there's no hiding in Minecraft. But from a learning perspective, that can be a really fantastic teachable moment, as for kids, in terms of being able to talk to them about why it's important not to break something that another kid's made and put lots of effort into, or why it's important to respect the community resources that have been built, so the buildings that are part of our welcome areas and things like that. Those tools also allow us to protect environments, so actually protect spaces, so that they can't be broken, and that's really handy for when we're creating core resources. The communication, the Guild website provides lots of different ways of communicating. So, this is about starting to learn social networking tools, as well as forum tools. So you can see there's our latest activity page where kids can jump in and pop in a quick short message, very Twitter-like. And lots of the kids jump in there and tell us all sorts of things. I saw yesterday lots of the US kids who've just gone back to school this week reporting on what had happened at school, and some of them were very happy about their new teacher and all that sort of stuff. So they really bring their whole lives to the community and share with each other, and I think that's a really good example of how kids who play online together create very deep bonds and really strong community connections. And you can see there our introductions forum, which allows them to pop in an introduction when they first join, and also a profile that allows them to set up a profile for themselves where they can share something about themselves and set up an avatar picture, and also record the awards that they receive as part of playing in Minecraft. As well as the Guild website, we also allow the kids to use Skype. So we have a fairly heavily populated Skype group chat where the kids can communicate with each other, and they often jump in and pop messages into each other, in the middle of the night. My Skype beeps 24/7 about all sorts of things, sometimes specifically to do with what they're doing in the mines, other times to do with what's happening in real life, and often to help each other out, so often to ask questions about what they've been doing or how they can install some software or find a resource. So I've seen kids doing their homework together in Skype, and as a good example, the other day we actually were all having a Skype watching session together where we were chatting to each other in Skype, and we were watching a Ustream video of an ostrich hatching. So it was a lovely little biology learning opportunity that the kids engaged with, and that's a real indication of how Minecraft actually, Minecraft communities actually, create an opportunity for kids to connect on all sorts of different topics. And we see, some really lovely moments in Skype where kids do things online together and explore interesting content together. And now we're all obsessed with the ostrich. I have to go and check it out every day. Cannon, thanks, Cannon. You're going to post a picture of the ostrich in the chat. So as I said, as I mentioned before, we have an award system, and the Massively award system is something that I think really differentiates us from lots of other Minecraft experiences, in that we've actually built some gamification into our project that allows kids to level up. And I think this is a really important and engaging factor that allows kids to actually go on missions to create, buildings and explore various topics, and by completing those missions, they actually are able to gain more responsibility and also power within our communities. So we have a rank system where they start off as little spores and they level up all the way to being junior moderators. And Ajnan, who started with us a couple of years ago, is one of our moderators. So he's leveled up all the way through our award system and got 50 awards, and now actually helps to manage the server and assist other kids. And the learning that goes on in terms of completing those tasks, and also learning to be a facilitator in the game is really powerful. To give you an idea of some of the things that we're trying to achieve with the awards, they're not like homework or assignments, but they do create some structure that allows the kids to self-select activities and then complete a particular task. And we have lots of different awards. There's about 115 of them now, I think, and they focus on various skills and knowledge. So you can see there are a whole bunch of different kind of tasks and learning that we're focusing on. So writing, speaking, information literacy, decision making, numeracy, rapport, conflict resolution, planning, self-awareness, and skills acquisition. So by creating these little tasks, we're creating some structure that allows kids to show that they've developed these skills as part of playing in Minecraft. To give you an idea of some of the awards, I've just popped in a few so that you can see how they work. Our Forum Writer Awards are all about rewarding the work that kids do in the forums, and this is all about writing, obviously. And we want the kids to go in and add a discussion topic in our forums. And when they've added a discussion topic and got some of their fellow community members to respond to that topic, they get the Forum Writer Award, and it appears on their profile in the Guild website. The Geometer Award is a good numeracy award, so that's all about learning how to measure surface area. So linking back to maths curriculum. And the kids, have to go and find an object and actually figure out what the surface area of that object is. Scientist Award, I love this award. We see lots of really interesting creativity out of this award. So this one's all about demonstrating a scientific concept within Minecraft. And the kids choose all sorts of things to demonstrate based on, their age and their experience. And sometimes it's what they're learning at school or as part of their homeschooling. At other times it's just something that they're interested in. So for example, just recently one of our kids who's 10 didn't really focus on creating a scientific concept as much as celebrating scientists. So he built a house and he got a whole bunch of animals and mobs and used them to represent famous scientists. So he had Alexander Bell and a whole bunch of different scientists there, Galileo, and he'd written a book for each of them that told us why these scientists were important. At the other end of the scale, we see some of the little kids just figuring out what gravity is, or figuring out why water would flow from a high point to a low point. So lots of really interesting ways of tackling these awards, and you can see with all of them we try to keep them fairly open so that the kids can take on these challenges and spin them in in different directions depending on their interest and also their age level. The Medieval Builders Award. So this is a community project and obviously has a history focus where we actually asked the kids to come and help us build a medieval city. So we wanted them to go out and do a little bit of research online. So we've got some online literacy and research skills happening, and then actually bring that knowledge back into Minecraft to create a structure. So the kids have built all sorts of amazing things in the medieval city, and once they've built something, they have to actually publish a picture of what they've created on their guild site and write something about why they built it and why it fits into the medieval city. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how our award system works. The kids complete awards. When they've done 10, they level up, and then again when they get 25, and then again when they get 50. So it's a process, and it connects back to the kind of badges movement that's happening online at the moment, where their awards, their badges appear on their profile, and it's part of demonstrating their knowledge. And really lovely to see kids taking huge pride in completing their awards and leveling up so that they can access more tools and resources in the environment and also start to help other players. So what I thought I'd do now that we've looked at awards is actually just go through and show you a whole range of different examples of the types of learning that can happen in Minecraft. And these are all images that have been that have actually been created in our minds by kids on our server, and connecting them back to some of the learning areas that you would be tackling in classrooms and also as part of homeschooling. So to give you an idea of the kind of epic kind of range of things that are going on. We'll start with art and design, and this is a amazing garden that one of our older players has created. So you can see here's some really, seriously creative and skillful building going on. This kid he's 18 now, but he was 16 when he built this. And this is a really great example of high level spatial skills and design skills, and he's built a garden that is designed for other kids to come and enjoy, and really amazing to see a kid use little blocks to be able to create these amazing structures that other people can come and enjoy. Yeah, it is pretty incredible. Rianne's a bit of a master builder. I am a bit in awe of that kid sometimes. He's quite amazing. At the younger end of the scale, this is a unicorn that was built by a couple of girls in our community who are about 10. And the spatial skills required to actually translate, one of their ideas into a 3D object at, quite high level. So they've had to interpret what a pony would look like and figure out how to build that. And yes, there's a Nyan cat in the background. So, we see lots of references back to web culture and movies and TV and music and all those sorts of things in terms of what the kids build. As well as actually building things in the mines, a lot of the kids take their mining experience back to, writing and creating and drawing in real life. So this is a picture that one of the kids in the community has drawn. And it's her Minecraft avatar fighting off a creeper. So a creeper is one of the most infamous monsters in Minecraft. Very scary, those creepers, they blow up. So lots of lovely opportunities there to extend the experiences that they're having in Minecraft back into creating in real life. And we see the kids doing all sorts of things like that, creating little sculptures of things they've made in Minecraft. We've seen kids make t-shirts and posters, all sorts of things that are inspired by their experiences in Minecraft. So civics and citizenship is another big one, and I've talked about that already, the opportunities to learn how to work in a community and collaborate together. So this is two of our little guys standing in front of the spawn version of our charter. So they're very aware of the rights and responsibilities that they have in the community, and the behaviour that's expected. And it's really interesting to watch what goes on when someone does the wrong thing. So if we see someone say a swear word or something, the kids are very able to self-manage those types of things, and we'll talk to each other about what's appropriate and what's not. Often I don't have to intervene. I watch in the text chat and I see them sort it out themselves, where they'll jump in and say, hey, you're not allowed to talk like that, or hey, it's not nice to be mean to that kid. But there's always that framework in the background for an adult to jump in and give them some coaching. This is another example of civics and citizenship. So this is an environment where the kids are allowed to use TNT, which is an explosive. And when we set up that world, we asked the kids to set some particular rules for how they would behave in that environment. So these rules were set up by a kid who's 11, and they demonstrate what's expected in that environment. And it's really lovely to see them, negotiating that stuff together and figuring out how it should all work, and then clearly communicating it, so setting up those rules in Word so everyone can read them. Creative writing is another one. We see lots of kids doing really interesting creative writing inspired by what they're doing in Minecraft. So this is a poem that's been written by one of the girls. And again, goes back to those big nasty green creepers. And lots of really motivated writing happening inspired by Minecraft. Yes, mods are very handy for monitoring appropriate language, although we do find that because we have a very strong community charter and well communicated expectations, that we don't tend to need the plugin so much, because the kids have actually learnt about appropriate behaviour and self-manage. But particularly if you're going to have a server where there aren't adults kind of around watching all the time, those plugins can be really handy for preventing that behaviour before it happens. So more stories up on the screen there. You can see a very creative nightmare story that one of the girls has written. And also some really lovely journaling that goes on our guild website. So the little girl who's written that's 8 years old, and she's written about a survival story about going sailing in Minecraft and having to build a house and all those sorts of things. Environmental studies. This is a really cute project. One of our girls had an assignment to do for school where she had to create a presentation and a project on endangered species. So she came into Minecraft because Minecraft is where she wanted to be, and she used Minecraft to actually complete her assignment. So she built a spotted quoll, and she made some signs that talked about the habitat of the spotted quoll and why it was endangered and how it could be protected. So, you know, some lovely examples of how you can actually get kids involved in making something that completes some, you know, a learning requirement. And, you know, these are all, you know, and massively, these are all activities that the kids, you know, do voluntarily. We don't set these as requirements. We see them choosing to complete these types of activities in the mines. History is a lovely one, and this is one of Ajnan's builds. So we see lots of history projects going on in Minecraft, and this is a project that he worked on with a player from Australia, so an international collaboration going on here, where the boys built a model of HMS Sirius, and then they also went out and found out some important historical facts about HMS Sirius and actually published them in World and also on the Guild site as well. So, you know, you can see there's some building which has led to some research and you know, developing understanding of a historical experience. So, yeah, nice work, AJ. Yeah, we don't, Peggy's asking a question about what happens, or does it happen at a certain time. We, at Massively, it just runs 24/7. So we have busier times when the time zones connect. So when the US and the UK and the Australian kids are all up and awake, there's lots of activity going on the server. And we don't structure what they have to do. So they're actually able to, you know, come and go as they please and you know, play, you know, work on the projects that they want to work on. So sometimes the kids just run around and, you know, they're just playing and being silly together. Other times they're very focused on getting awards, and you see kind of, you know, very focused, hectic activities. They're working very hard to level up. And sometimes they're bringing, you know, projects that they've got from school or projects that they've got as part of homeschool that they're doing in Minecraft. And I should mention that we do actually have quite a large proportion of homeschooled kids in the community who, you know, for them Massively is a really important part of their you know, social life. It's an opportunity to connect with other kids and to share learning with other kids. You know, for them, sometimes mum or dad might be setting some learning outcomes for them to come and achieve in the mines. Other times, mum or dad might be connecting to the awards and actually, you know, kind of, you know, drawing, you know, lines between what they've got in their homeschool curriculum back to awards that will fit in. So, you know, there's lots of lovely opportunities there for kids to, you know, connect their real life learning to the fun learning that they're doing in Massively. Yeah, that's very true, Peggy, and I think that across the entire Minecraft community, well beyond Massively, there is a really strong sense of bringing people together to explore common passion. And you know, our kids really respond to lots of things that are going on out in the big wide world of Minecraft. And if you've got, for any of you that have got kids who are playing Minecraft, you've probably seen them on YouTube, obsessively watching their favourite Minecraft YouTuber and learning from them. And there is a really strong sense of community across the whole Minecraft world that really starts at the top. It starts with Notch and the people at Mojang who create Minecraft and really connect to players via social media, via Facebook, via YouTube, via Twitter, all those sorts of things, and really encourage that kind of maker community experience where everybody's encouraged to, you know, get involved in making and creating and also modding and developing Minecraft. So there are lots of kids out there who start with, you know, building and fighting monsters and all that sort of thing, and very quickly level up to creating creating plugins and skins, so texture packs and those sorts of things for Minecraft to actually add more content to the game. I mentioned before the Medieval City project, so you can see there that's actually a screenshot from the Medieval City project, and one of the kids, helped to create the main medieval city town square, and you can see a very naughty monster there that's been set up in the stocks in the medieval city square. So that kid had to go out and do a bit of research about why that would be relevant, and then publish a picture on the guild site to complete the process of getting the award and demonstrating his understanding. Ooh, the Titanic. So lots of Titanics in our mines. That's a popular build, but this is one of the huge Titanics created by one of our older miners. And again, some research had to go into going and finding out what the Titanic, looked like and how it was built and what its structure was. And you can see, that's, huge from a scale perspective, and very, very detailed. So, lots of learning opportunities there in terms of, connecting to history and creating really interesting content, and also the art and design skills involved in being able to translate that research into a really attractive, well-built structure. So IT and programming, and this is another one of Ajnan's brilliant builds. So one of the things that Minecraft has is redstone, which is the ability to create circuits and moving parts. And Ajnan's actually managed to use his epic redstone skills to create a version of Space Invaders in Minecraft. It actually works. You can actually go in and play Space Invaders. And the skills that kids develop in using redstone really extend to starting to understanding programming concepts and getting into writing, code. And many of the kids who are very into redstone tend to start to extend their skills into, going out and learning, PHP and Java and all those sorts of things, because they're inspired by, learning how to conquer the machine, realizing that with a bit of cleverness they can, make the environment do what they want it to do and be automated. And Ajnan has made some, amazing bits and pieces of redstone that literally make my brain melt. He's very, very clever. As well as that, the kids get involved in modifying and managing the server. So there's some, really real-life skills involved in, networking and programming in terms of being able to run the server and install software and maintain the environment. And many of them, both Canon and Ajnan, are very adept at managing, the technical side of actually running a server. And if you're in a school environment, you've probably got kids in your classroom who are well and truly into running their own Minecraft server and understanding how the software works and how they can modify it and run security and all those types of things. And, we've done a little bit of work in terms of aligning them back to vocational education. And, in Australia, kids can be developing enough skills via what they do in Minecraft to actually achieve a Cert 2 or 3 in IT networking. So very real life skills coming out of playing in the game and then connecting to the broader Minecraft community and learning how to build onto it and modify it and manage it. And a good example of that is again from Ajnan. Ajnan just recently did a bit of work in learning PHP. He's very good at Scratch and those sorts of things. And he recently wrote some script that created a tool to help us to write our permissions files. So we run something called B permissions, which allows us to control access to worlds and particular tools in the mine. So as kids level up, they get access to more tools, and that permission system empowers that. So Ajnan was actually able to write a little web application that helped us to write those permissions. And that tool was actually picked up by some of the kids that we're connected to via a school project in Tasmania, and some of the kids down there were helping Ajnan to test the software that he'd written. And then later on it was actually tweeted out to you know, various people in the Minecraft community, and Minecraft teacher, who is part of the Minecraft EDU project, actually saw it and said, wow, this is really amazing. I wonder if we can use that as this is part of what we do with Minecraft EDU. So the work that the kids do in Minecraft actually really connects to real life opportunities, and I think it's a really fantastic opportunity for you know, envisioning futures and being able to see how the skills that they've developed online can turn into real life occupations and vocations and opportunities. We might pop some links up in the chat at the end so that you can go and read Ajnan's blog post about that. He's written some very detailed blog posts that explain what he did and how the software works. So yeah, AJ, thanks for all your help. As well as that, literature is another really fantastic one, and we see kids you know, building inspired by what they're reading quite often. So this is an example of one of our kids has built a Hogwarts, so he's built a huge environment, or he's built the whole castle, and you can see there the main hall. And he's also started to build the Chamber of Secrets and all sorts of things. And he's really demonstrating a deep understanding of the text, and you know, he's interpreting and, you know, reimagining characters and all those sorts of things. So really fantastic way for kids to really connect with what they're reading, and you know, get really motivated to engage deeply in characters and plot and all those sorts of things. Another good example of that is the Hunger Games. So the Hunger Minds was very popular when the movie came out, and lots of our kids have read all of the Hunger Minds or the Hunger Games books. And we actually had them engaged in a role-play project where we built all the districts from the Hunger Minds and the main city, and they developed characters. So we actually had them all imagine characters that were citizens in the districts, and it was amazing to watch the kind of role play that went on as part of that project, as the kids all kind of you know, developed characters based on what they'd read in the text, and you know, rebuilt the environment, and you know, and then watched the movie and came back and said, no, we have to change this because it doesn't look right. So all sorts of really amazing kind of collaboration going on to create the environment for that epic story. Lord of the Rings, another really fantastic one. So this is a fantastic piece of pixel art that one of the girls has made to represent Gollum, and she's also made some other bits and pieces of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as well. So again, engaging really deeply in the text and demonstrating a really deep understanding of you know, places and people and plot line from that text. And you know, remembering that this kid is 11, you know, she's demonstrating some, you know, some pretty amazing kind of skills in terms of being able to interpret that content. This is another lovely one. So for anyone who's working with sort of the 9 to 11 age range, you might have heard of the Percy series. Camp Half-Blood is probably the most popular of that series of books, and we've got a couple of Camp Half-Bloods in Massively. It's definitely a popular one. And this kid has built the whole camp and used the Camp Half-Blood wiki on the web to actually figure out all the different spaces that he needed as part of this project. So again, you can see deep understanding of the text, but also some, you know, really fantastic research skills going on there as far as you know, being able to translate that into a build that actually, you know, is very true to the text and very detailed. Maths and science is another one. I'm racing through these because I know that we're running out of time, but maths and science is an obvious one. Lots of opportunities for kids to get into numeracy in terms of measurement and spatial understanding, but also sharing knowledge. So this is an example of a little girl who wanted to share some knowledge with other kids and made a math palace where she demonstrated a whole bunch of knowledge. So she put up a whole bunch of signs about algorithms and fractions and all sorts of things, and was sharing knowledge that she had learnt at school in math, because she felt that, you know, as a 12-year-old she could share some really good knowledge with the little kids. So some lovely opportunities there for them to build tutorials and share knowledge with each other, as well as demonstrating their skills. This is another science example. So this is an example of a kid who, and this is Ajna again actually, who wanted to test gravity and the differences between gravity in real life and in Minecraft. So he actually built a structure that allowed him to figure out how fast things fell, and he used Audacity to record the sound and then measured the sound and did a whole bunch of maths to figure out what the differences were between you know, gravity in real life and gravity in Minecraft. So very high level kind of, you know, conceptual thinking going on with some of these. This is an example of a little girl who, again, is 13, and she decided, she's very into physics and very into science. She decided that she would teach all the other kids about string theory. So she set up a school in the mines with desks and a door and rules and all the things that she was experiencing at school. And she stood up in front of the class and taught them all about string theory. And I watched with my jaw on the floor as this little girl really demonstrated her deep knowledge. So, you know, some really amazing kind of opportunities to share knowledge and to, you know, to take real pride in learning. So, you know, lots of passionate learning going on. Multimedia is another really fantastic one, so that ability to be able to make content based on what you've done in Minecraft. So this is a kid who makes lots of machinima. And he actually rewrote a version of one of his favourite songs and gave it a Minecraft twist, and then recorded a music video to go with his song. Sang the song, edited the video, performed in the machinima, and then produced it and published it on YouTube. So the multimedia skills involved in that, you know, are pretty high level, and this kid's 10, and I expect him to be a multi-million-dollar music video producer in the near future. Performing arts is another one. We see lots of kids doing performing arts in the mines, where they actually set up environments and act out plays. Sometimes they write their own, sometimes they reinterpret things that they've seen on TV or performances that they've actually seen in real life. So this is a girl who'd just been to a pantomime, so she brought that back into Minecraft and acted and created a theatre, and then collaborated with other kids in the community to create a pantomime so we could all go and watch them perform. You know, and really lovely creative things going on there, and you know, sometimes impossible to be able to do in the classroom with, you know, without huge resources. They're able to do with high production values in Minecraft. And one of my favourites, personal development. I think the opportunities for personal development in Minecraft are just huge, and you know, we see all sorts of really amazing outcomes for kids in terms of health and well-being as part of their interaction in Minecraft. So you can see there an image of Punk Rocker, who's a lovely kid from our community who's homeschooled. And you know, she'd struggled with self-esteem and had experienced a little bit of bullying while she was in mainstream school, and had really found that joining massively and being part of an online community where she had the ability to engage as much as she felt comfortable with has allowed her to develop huge confidence and to really you know, improve her self-esteem and find all sorts of opportunities to you know, demonstrate her value in the community. And actually leveled up to being a moderator and helps to support other young players. So I asked the kids to reflect on what they'd been doing in Minecraft and what was great about Massively for them. And she wrote, "Thanks Massively for helping my self-esteem as a female gamer," which is a really lovely thing to see. As well as that, you can see there's a great sign that one of the kids put up right at the beginning of our main mine. So all the kids who log in see this sign. And she wanted to say to everyone, "Stop right there. I just wanted to say you're beautiful. Keep smiling. Okay, thanks, bye." You know, some really lovely, you know, caring for each other and, you know, wanting to support each other in the community. And you know, I have to admit, I, you know, nearly shed a tear when I first saw that sign because it's such a lovely little interaction. And social studies, so there's some geography. That's actually a map of one of our mines, and the kids actually regularly engage in mapping coordinates and understanding where they are spatially in the environment, being able to figure out how to get from here to there and all those sorts of things. So this is a web-based map that they use to track all of that. So some lovely skills there in learning how to read a map and understand coordinates and north, south, east and west and all those sorts of things. So that, very quickly, we've only got a few minutes left, but that gives you a very quick, but hopefully a broad kind of overview of all the different types of things that happen in Minecraft, and maybe spark some ideas for things that you could be doing with your learners, whether they be homeschoolers or kids in a classroom, in terms of using a game-based environment to inspire and encourage creativity and learning. And I have to say, over the couple of years that I've been working with kids in Minecraft, I never cease to be amazed and inspired by what they're doing. There's always someone coming up with another crazy scheme and creating something really brilliant, and it's an absolute joy to facilitate this project. And I have to say, the kids that I've worked with in Minecraft are the most engaged kids I've seen in any virtual or games environment ever. So if you're thinking about using game-based learning in your classroom, Minecraft is a fantastic place to start. So we've got maybe a minute up our sleeves for anyone who's got any burning questions, but I will make sure that I'll post a link so you can get in contact with me as well if you've got particular questions. Yeah, if you want to join our server, you certainly can. I can actually pop up the links to that now. What you actually need to do is go to the Guild website and find the sign-up form and fill out the sign-up form, and then you get some emails back that tell you about next steps. As far as kids and parents are concerned, we actually do have a rule that we don't let adults who aren't playing with their child into the community as full-time members, because we really want to make sure that it remains a very kid-focused environment, and that we're retaining that community sense where the kids are very much leaders and in control of what happens in their community. But we do run open days, so for any educators who are interested in coming along and having a look, if you keep an eye out on our Twitter feed, you'll see when the next open day is running, and you're more than welcome to come and visit us at an open day where the kids actually run tours and show you what they've been building and talk about why they love Minecraft. And I think the next one of those will happen in about 2 weeks for anyone who's particularly interested in coming and joining in. No problem. Thanks for coming, Oro. It's great to see you. Yes, and I will just grab AJ's link as well for anyone who wants to go and read his blog. There we go. Fantastic, and hopefully, as a very, very quick overview of all of the amazing things that are happening in Minecraft, that's given you some pathways for building it into your kids' learning. Yes, and Cannon's sharing his YouTube channel, so that's a great example of how the kids take their work out onto the web and share it with a broader community, and Cannon's doing some great YouTubing on his channel. Yes, I get that feedback from lots of parents, Katrin, that they watch what their kids are doing in Minecraft and they think, oh my God, what are they up to? Oh, thanks, Cindy, and hopefully you'll all go out and use Minecraft for lots of interesting things with your kids. Okay, so I might stop the recording. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and joining in. And feel free to get in touch if you've got questions or you want to find out more about what we're up to.